How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Rod from DBZSHFIGS.com, and today I'm bringing to you how to start your Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts collection in September 2025. So, like I mentioned, this is done in September of 2025, so if you're watching this at a different date, this stuff might not make sense anymore, but if you happen to watch when this is released, everything should be factual. I know things change from day to day, but let's just hope everything is evergreen at this moment. Just want to remind you that there's currently being a giveaway at the Discord for the channel. And Mod Owen is giving away one Dragon Ball SH figure to a lucky Discord member. All you have to do is join the Discord server, go into the giveaway tab, and click on that little enter button. And that's pretty much it. There's only a few rules. It's a US only. You must be 18 years or older, or you must ask an adult for consent to use their address, and that's basically it. So go ahead and join the server, link in the description. Also, don't forget to check out my website, DBZSHFIGS.com. It's a complete archive of every single release in the Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts line. It's constantly being updated with all the latest information, including the newly announced Tamashii Nation store exclusive Ultra Instinct Goku. But anyways, let's get started here. It's going to be a relatively quick video. If you want to see more in this series on how to best start your Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts collection, make sure you leave a comment and a like so that I know and I make a new video. But anyways, let's start with budget, which is going to be your most important thing to consider. And I have some bullet points here. So basically, what I suggest you do is you come up with a monthly or yearly budget that you want to spend on Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts. This could be something as simple like, I will buy one figure a month, or I will spend no more than $40 a month, or $200 a year, whatever it is to your specific scenario. Just make sure you come up with it and you write it down so that you know and that you realize that you're not overspending or even underspending in some points. Now, another question that I want you to ask yourself is, which figures do you want to collect? Now, do you want to be someone that collects every single figure that gets released? Do you only care about Dragon Ball Z? Do you care about Dragon Ball Super? Do you care about Dragon Ball GT? If there's just something specific that you want to collect, that's going to make it a lot easier on you and your budget. If you are chasing every single release, then just know that you're going to be spending a few $1,000s every single year, because this hobby is not cheap and it seems like it's only getting more and more expensive. So that brings up the question, do you even want to start collecting? I know right now, maybe you went on YouTube, maybe you went on Instagram, you saw people have these cool articulated figures from your favorite anime, and you're thinking about getting started with this. Now, I want you to really ask yourself, is this something that I really want to start? Or is this just something that I see hype right now and I kind of want to get my hands on, but the hype for me might fade away in a month or two? Ask yourself that, if that's something you really want to go ahead with. Now, I just want to let you know that the cheapest figures with sales tax excluded are $37.99 now, which they used to be $34.99, but they just went up a little bit. And these are going to be the figures that you find at your local retailers like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, stuff like that. And these are not going to have the most accessories. They're going to be basically introductory figures that come with like a few faces, a few hands, and that's basically it. So yeah, that's your budget right now. I want you to know that the cheapest figures you're going to find, except the ones that are like on sale on Amazon, which I'll be covering later, are going to be $38 before taxes. So just know how expensive these figures are. Now, premium Bandai figures are going to be even more expensive because they're quote unquote premium. They use quote unquote one-off molds, stuff like that. It doesn't always make sense to me, but that's just how they brand it. So maybe you only care about collecting the retail figures. Maybe skipping the premium Bandais is better for you, because those are going to start, it looks like the bottom shelf is going to be like $60 for those. There might be some one-offs like, Best Selection, Legendary Super Saiyan Goku that are like $45, but still, it just seems like these figures are climbing in price, and it's just going to get more expensive over time. And then another question I want you to ask yourself, can you afford to buy in bulk? Instead of doing like a monthly budget, can you tell yourself, I'm willing to spend something like $200 this year on figures. If you could buy in bulk, you're almost guaranteed to get a better price than if you're buying individual figures. You could find, Toys in the Box has a really good bulk program, in my opinion. You could also go on Facebook Marketplace and buy people's collection in bulk, which brings me to the next point. Are you willing to buy used? Because if you are willing to buy used, you could get these figures for even cheaper. Again, on Facebook Marketplace, on OfferUp, on eBay, you'll probably get a better deal than if you're just willing to buy brand new figures, because you're going to be paying full price for them. So that, of course, brings us to the next question: where to buy? Assuming you're brand new to the series, again, there are figures that are $37.99 that are going to be found at your local retailers: Target, Walmart, Best Buy, GameStop, Barnes & Noble, etc. I'm sure there's more out there, but those are going to be able to be found in stores. You could actually toy hunt for them if you're into that, which, I mean, sometimes it's hard, but I mean, I get the appeal to it. It's like finding a treasure, right, that you then get to pay for. And then Premium Bandai, of course, is going to have, a select bit of retail figures, as well as, of course, their Premium Bandai figures, which are going to be more expensive, and that's where you're going to get it. Now, I will say with Premium Bandai, for whatever reason, they charge $10 shipping on any figure, so it's not the most cost-effective thing. Now, if you happen to live in New York or in Tokyo, there is such a thing as a Tamashii Nation store, which carries, of course, these Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts. They usually have a wide selection of figures, not only including the $37.99, but they also include other general release figures like the first form Frieza, stuff like that. Sometimes you might even be lucky and find the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, as well as the Tamashii Nation store exclusives. Now, for online retailers, which is where I get most of my figures from, we have Big Bad Toy Store, Toys in the Box, Amazon, etc. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones. If there's one that you really, really enjoy shopping at, make sure you leave it in the comments for other people to check out. Don't be a gatekeeper. Let's help each other out. And then if you're more advanced, which I don't really recommend if you're just getting started in collecting these figures, you can import them from Japan or other overseas places. I personally shop from Hobby Genki, sometimes AliExpress as well. But then again, like I said, you might not be able to, spot when something is too good of a deal, that it might be a fake figure or something like that. So I just suggest you stick with, these online retailers and these retailers that are based in the US currently, and then learn a little more about the importing process, because you might even be caught off guard with how much shipping is, and you might not even take that into consideration. So yeah, and then like I said, I also get a lot of my figures from secondhand sources like OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay. This is going to be the best way to get your figures if you don't care about getting them secondhand, of course. Now, eBay is a really good place to get them. I will always tell my subscribers, ignore the buy it now option. Just focus on the bids. Just know how much a figure goes for, especially if you're buying one that, came out a few years ago and is now reselling for a certain amount. Just know how much the figure goes for. That way you don't overbid, but usually you end up getting a better price than if you're just buying it now. So what should you buy? What's good to buy right now if I want to start my Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts collection? I compiled a few of them. And the most obvious ones, in my opinion, are going to be these Dragon Ball Adult Daima, Goku, and Vegeta. Now, there's a caveat to that. If you don't care about the aesthetic about Daima, then these might be a skip. But in terms of like the actual figures themselves, I've had both of them in hand, and they're amazing. You're going to get top-notch articulation. You're going to have it in your hand. You're going to fall in love with the figures. You're going to see how many different poses you could put them in. And the best part is that they're currently on sale on Amazon. So these would normally be about $37.99 if you find them in store. Currently, they're, about 20% off each, which is great savings in my opinion, especially for this 3.0 bodies on these really cool Daima figures. Again, if you don't care about the Daima aesthetic, then probably skip these and get other ones. Now, the warrior who surpassed Goku, we have Super Saiyan Gohan, has been on sale on Amazon for literally months now, 11% off, so $58. Now, this is a little more expensive than your $37.99 figures. However, he does come with a soft goods cape, which is going to be that cape with the bendy wire on it. So it's going to have like an infinite amount of articulation. And then, of course, it has that 3.0 body mold, and everything is just amazing with the figure. If Gohan is one of your favorite characters, this one I suggest you don't pass up on, especially right now that it's on sale. It's going to be a good buy. Now, if you're on the higher end of the budget and you really like Broly, or you want to, dive right into it, right now they're reissuing the full power Broly from Dragon Ball Super, which is an amazing figure. It's a huge figure. It has great articulation. It has great shelf presence. It's up for pre-order. This one came out like 2019 or 2018 or something like that. So this is one of those rare occurrences where they're actually reissuing a very clamored after figure. So if you're just getting into the series right now and you feel like you're gonna want this figure at some point, this is gonna be the cheapest way for you to get it, because again, they're reissuing. Same thing with this Goku Rosé. So this is one that you're gonna be able to find at your local retailer like Target, Walmart, etc. The ones I mentioned before, it's gonna be one of those $37.99 figures. It doesn't come with a lot of stuff, but it's a great looking Super Saiyan Rosé Goku Black. So if that's a character you really like, this is gonna be the best deal for you. Next up, we have probably the one that I would suggest most people put their attention in case you don't care about waiting, a few weeks, a few months. The Cell Games Begin Super Saiyan Goku, which is the top left over here. This is actually going to be the most advanced figure in the entire line because it has some new technology to the shoulders, to the calves. It's going to have all the latest innovations that Tamashii Nations has to offer. And of course, it's a Super Saiyan Goku, which who doesn't want that, especially if you're starting your collection. I feel like you really need a Super Saiyan Goku in your collection. And this is going to be the best one, bar none. It's coming out in October. So if you're watching this, this is one that I'd give you a 10 out of 10. You should pre-order and get your hands on if you're interested in the line. You could also get this Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku. It's been out for a while now, but if you, for whatever reason, really love the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan version, now is the time to get it for retail. For Piccolo, it's kind of hard right now. I know Piccolo is a pretty popular character, but honestly, the Proud Namekian version is going to be the best Piccolo currently out there. However, he's out of stock in most places, so you're probably going to have to pay resale for that figure. Now, there is the Daima Adult Piccolo that's basically already out currently, and that one goes for $70, and it does have one thing that the Proud Namekian does not have, which is the soft goods cape with the bendy wires. So that one's going to be a way better cape than the hard plastic that Proud Namekian comes with. So if you really want a Piccolo, and again, if you don't care that it's Daima aesthetic, this is one you should pick up just to have a Piccolo in your collection. Now, moving over to some bad guys, or bad guys at some point, we have Majin Buu, which is the good version, for $74.99. So this one, again, Tamashii Nations, sometimes they do cool stuff. They announced out of nowhere that they were going to reissue the Majin Buu, the fat version, which is an iconic character. He was, he has his own saga in Dragon Ball Z. He's a bad guy that then turns good, so he has a lot of, importance in the series, and he's at the cheapest he's ever been, in my opinion. $74.99 at Toys in the Box is pretty cheap. He used to resell for like $120, $130, $140. So now if you're just getting in, it's going to be the best time to get this Majin Buu. So make sure to think thoroughly if this is a series that you're going to want to keep collecting, because this is a, no-brainer. You should buy this currently. And then the best Goku, honestly, that's still out there, it's kind of Son Goku Saiyan Race on Earth, which is the most iconic Son Goku base form iteration, in my opinion. It still does the job to this day. Of course, I will say that there is the Lowest Born Saiyan. However, that one is like super hard to find in stores. Maybe you could get lucky. Check your nearest Target, check your nearest Walmart, check your nearest Best Buy. I think even has them as well. Check those out. Again, I will repeat, they're a North America exclusive. So if you're not in North America, you're not going to be able to find the Lowest Born Saiyan. So you're going to have to stick to a Saiyan Race Honored Goku if you want a base form Goku. Now there's the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God instilled with the lights of righteous hearts, which is a mouthful there. If you like Goku Red, that one's a $34.99 figure, just if you want that iteration of Goku. Now, I kind of did lie a little earlier. The superhero version of Goku is also widely available. However, I know a lot of people don't really like the way this one looks because it has that, Dragon Ball superhero aesthetic. However, I have it in hand and it doesn't look that bad. Of course, it does have those black line outlines on the face, which is that superhero aesthetic, but I don't mind it. I think it does the job for a base form Goku. This one's widely available again, so just look at the pictures, go into my website, look at all the pictures, look at the videos, and then you can decide for yourself which base form Goku you want. Now, Big Bad Toy Store does still have available the Krillin Earth's Strongest Man for $55, which is the retail price. It is $20 more than like a retail figure that you find at Target. However, he does come with a lot of cool stuff like a Senzu Bean bag as well as his Destructo disc. So this is going to be a more of a premium figure. If you want a Krillin, unfortunately, this is going to be the cheapest option for you. He is $55. And I know maybe you might have seen the one that's coming out in 2026, which is Goku's childhood friend. However, that one is pretty expensive at $80. So if you're just getting into the line, I suggest you stick with this one. It still does the job in my opinion. And then just a few more over here. We have Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which is an amazing Vegeta in my opinion. I think it looks incredible. The blue just really stands out and it's in stock for only $35. So that one could be a very good introductory figure. If you want to dip your toes into the series, into the line, get this one, check it out, have it in hand. And then you could decide if you want to pursue other figures. Same thing with Goku Ultra Instinct. That one is way more premium. I would actually even say that it's a bit too expensive because it's basically a Goku figure with battle damage clothes, and then he comes with a Kamehameha, which for $62, it's a little expensive in my opinion, but he is an Ultra Instinct Goku, which I know is a very popular form of his. So again, decide within your budget if that's something you want. Oh, and then we have the other bad guys. Frieza First Form, $78 is going to be quite steep, so that one's one that's going to require a lot of thinking. However, I will say I really enjoyed that one, especially since it's such an iconic representation of Frieza, and he comes with that cool pod. It's going to look great in any shelf, and it's going to have that Frieza representation. Now with Cell, it's a little bit harder because the only widely available Cell currently is the First Form at $75. That one I don't really recommend that much, although it is a pretty cool figure. It's that First Form, which is not the most iconic form of Cell. We're waiting for a more of a general release Perfect Cell. If you don't know, if you're brand new, we've only ever had like a 1.0 Cell, which is a way older body mold with way worse articulation. And we just haven't gotten a new Perfect Cell in years. And then some other figures here. So again, if you're joining right now, I suggest you put a lot of thought into pre-ordering the legendary Super Saiyan Goku. This one is widely regarded as the best Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts in the entire line. There's other figures that compare with it. However, this one I just think for its versatility, posability, the way it looks, I think it's just the top notch figure. At $68, yes, he is expensive. However, I will say he's pretty worth it to add to your collection. Then if you want a Super Saiyan Vegeta, here is the $37.99 just regular Awakening Super Saiyan Blood Vegeta, which is from the Cell Saga, I believe. So it's just going to be an iconic Super Saiyan Vegeta. Nothing much else I could say. And then we have this trio of the superhero figures. We have Goku, we have Gohan, and we have Piccolo. So again, this is going to have the superhero aesthetic. Look at the figures, look at their faces. If you don't mind the way they look, this is going to be the cheapest way for you to collect those main characters. There's also Vegeta involved as well. So we have Piccolo for $38, Gohan for $38, Goku for $38, and then Vegeta for $38. So if you buy all those four for like $100, $150, you're going to have the main cast pretty much. And they're all pretty cool figures. The Gohan especially is one that is highly regarded as a very good figure. It's the base for a lot of customs just because the body is amazing on him. Now the Piccolo, he is a really good Piccolo, and if you want something closer to a Dragon Ball Z aesthetic, this one's gonna do it. However, he doesn't come with a cape because he's only $38, so you're gonna be missing out on a lot of accessories there. And then lastly, just wanted to show you, like I mentioned earlier, Toys in the Box, if you're able to buy in bulk, they do offer a slight discount depending on how many figures you buy, starting at 3, and you get the most discount if you're buying 6. So for example, I showed you earlier that Super Boo was $74.99. If you buy him along with 2 other figures, that $74.99 drops to $71.25. Piccolo drops a few bucks, and then Cell Games Begin Goku drops a few bucks. So I suggest you check out Toys in the Box. I'll have a link in the description that also gives you a 5% off. So check that out. But anyways, that's basically gonna cover it for me in this first episode. Again, if you want to see more episodes in this how to begin your Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts collection series, make sure you leave a comment. Also, if you're brand new, again, check out my website, DBZSHFIGS.com, so you could check out all the different releases in Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts history. And if you're still listening to me at this point in time, just know that I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day.